Welcome back, Weirdos and Weeaboos, to the Child Edition Doge, where today I'm going to be doing a bit of a challenge, but with a bit of a fun spin on it. The challenge is quite simple, beating all of Nightmare Mode in Skylanders Giants using only one Skylander. Not original, but definitely a good challenge. That being said, this is where it gets a bit more interesting. We're not just using any Skylander. I'm planning on making this a series, but for now we're just going to start with Drobot. However, this is no normal Drobot. This light core Drobot here is one of the most souped up Skylanders you will ever see, because I have maxed out everything you physically possibly can for this Drobot to make sure they are as powerful as physically possible, to turn them into a killing machine. So, starting with the obvious, of course they have every upgrade unlocked, and of course they're on the laser path. Obviously for other Skylanders this can be a bit more ambiguous, but with Drobot it's like not even the slightest bit controversial to suggest that you should always take the laser path if you're tryharding. So, yeah, laser path is always better. As well as that, it doesn't really matter too much, but I do have a max rank with all the quests done here with the gold border. That actually doesn't affect anything. The only thing it does is unlock a hat that we're not even going to use, but it just looks good to have the gold border, so you know, I did it anyway. The stats, this is probably the most painful part of doing this, but well worth it. I have completed all 45 heroic challenges on this Skylander, and as a result, I now have max speed, armor, critical hit, and elemental power. As well as that, of course, the hat itself. Most of you will probably already know, but this is the Knight's Helmet. It is the special hat you unlock for beating giants in Nightmare Mode. As a result, it is the highest statted hat in the entire game. Now, in fairness, you might be wondering why I don't wear this hat more often on my Skylanders, and that's just because typically the only stat I really care a lot about is speed. So I picked the winged hat instead, since it has 12 speed rather than plus 6. But in the case of this test, where we actually do care about all stats, I do think it is probably the best to use the Knight Helmet, as if you just take all stats into account, it does have the most of everything. As well as that, I also am using these. So, with the Lookatron wheel, I almost always use 4 Wheels of Wealth, and if I'm ever not using 4 Wheels of Wealth, it's usually because I'm missing a Wheel of Wealth on that save file, and I usually just replace the missing one with experience. As a result, I'm going to be honest with you, I had actually never used the Lookatron Wheels of Power, even though I'd thought about it before, the ones that actually give you a chance to deal bonus damage with your attacks. You can obviously see why I want to get the Lookatron Wheels of Power in here, because we're doing like a max character, so we want them to deal maximum damage, but actually, I learned something about the Lookatron Wheels of Power that probably the rest of you have known for years, but for me was genuinely like a, whoa, they do that? I always just assumed they gave you an increased crit rate, because, I mean, that just made the most sense. It's a random chance to sometimes deal more damage. But they don't actually increase your crit rate. What they do is they add a percentage chance for you to get the elemental zone damage bonus, even when you're in a zone that doesn't match your element. And that is very powerful. Because, first of all, elemental power is a very easily increasable stat. It goes very, very high. As you can see, it is currently, including the boost from my hat, at 130. Ludicrously high. And this causes my elemental damage bonus to shoot through the roof. I genuinely deal more than double damage when I get my elemental damage bonus. It is insane, the boost I get. But usually, I must admit, as cool as it is to have all that bonus elemental damage, it would feel a bit pointless knowing that, well, you can only use it in your elemental zones, and I'm not going to be switching Skylanders, so I'm not going to get to use it very often. But now we have the Wheels of Power, and they actually provide the elemental damage bonus even outside of your elemental zone. It means that we can actually put that elemental power to good use and do a genuinely terrifying amount of damage. As well as that, let's just get some obvious things out of the way too. We also have gotten every single charm in the game. The Elemental Elixir to increase healing in elemental zones, the Unerring Arrow to give extra damage to all large enemies, the Robot Repellent to give bonus damage to all robot enemies, the Sudsy Soap to give increased damage to all troll enemies, the Sparkling Sprinkles to get more health regeneration from food, the Brawny Barbell so that giants can lift up bombs and boulders more quickly, although I guess in this case that doesn't matter since Drobot isn't a giant and we can't swap, the Bright Blade so that Skylanders are much more likely to score a critical hit so long as they are at full health, and lastly, of course, the Clever Clover, which I also recently learned is the cause of a certain bug in the game I noticed. To be fair, I wasn't sure if it was a bug or not, but I was a bit skeptical it was intentional. Have you ever been fighting an enemy in Skylanders Giants and you notice that the enemy has armor? You know how you can have armor where sometimes when you get hit, you just take 0 damage because of your armor stat? You might have noticed that enemies sometimes have armor in Giants too, but you might have noticed that sometimes they can't seem to have it at all, and sometimes they get it all the time. That's because of this charm. Clever Clover is actually bugged severely. When you unlock it, it's kind of a downside. Unfortunately, there's no way to turn it off or unlock it, so I do have to stick with it. But the Clever Clover makes it so that not only are the Skylanders more likely to block incoming attacks when at low health, but also all enemies actually get this, except tiny enemies. I believe everything the Giants can trample, like Chompies and things like that, don't get it. But anything big enough to not get trampled by Giants can get this benefit too. So that explains a lot, because I do feel like whenever the enemies get the armor effect, it always feels like when I'm about to kill them, and it's wound me up. And it turns out it's literally just because this item is bugged. It literally only gives them a ton of armor when they're about to die, and it's not even supposed to give it to the enemies, but it does. So that's going to be a little unfortunate to work with, but as well as that, you might be looking at the Skylanders count, and in fact, it's lying. There's even more than it says. I have maxed out the amount of Skylanders this save file seems to recognize that I have. And the reason that I have gone through the effort to do this is because, if I am not mistaken, you get a boost to the amount of damage that you get from elemental power depending on the amount of Skylanders you have in that element that you own on that profile. So by maxing out the amount of Skylanders I could possibly have in every single element, I also max out the damage boost from that element. As you can see, this took a while. There's a lot here. I also had to take ownership of a bunch of them. I don't know why they didn't already have ownership, but there's a bunch of Skylanders that didn't count. They had to go back through the list and retread my steps. But either way, for the case of Drobot, the 18 tech Skylanders are going to be all that matters. You might also be wondering, hang on a minute, there's no way Giants had 171 Skylanders. How did you even do this? Well, the main way that I did this is through the special types. So friendly reminder, I'm playing on emulator, which means I don't actually need the physical figures or the portal to get them down. For one, this is how I have such a robust collection. Like, don't get me wrong, I had quite a few Skylanders when I had this game myself, but I don't think I had quite this many. But also, it means I can cheat a little. Any Skylander that has a valid variant ID but doesn't correlate to any of the variants that Giants recognizes simply gets recognized as a special. The game recognizes, hang on a minute, this isn't a Series 1, this isn't a Series 2, this isn't a Legendary, this isn't a Light Core, this isn't any of the things we know it to be. But at the same time, we're checking, and this is a valid variant ID. It's not like someone's just made something up. So the game just kind of shrugs and goes, okay, it must be from a future game that we don't know exists yet. For that reason, we'll just log it as a special Skylander. This means if you have any Series 3s or Eons Elites or anything of that sort of nature, you can already get pretty close to the 171 total just by putting all of those on the portal. But of course, that doesn't get you all the way. The way we make the last jump here is to cheat a little. You see, I mentioned before that the game knows when the Skylander you put on the portal is a valid Skylander, even though it doesn't match any Skylander type they know, and that they assume this is probably a variant from a future game. That's okay, we'll log it as a special. But as it turns out, you very much can trick it. For example, say I want to have a special Fright Rider. Well, no repos was ever made for Fright Rider. There nearly was one. I believe inside the code for Swap Force, if I remember correctly, there was remnants of references to a legendary Fright Rider, but that was never actually made. So as a result, you would think that there would be no way to get a special Fright Rider, and there isn't under normal circumstances. However, if I just take the variant ID of a Series 2 figure and copy-paste it into the Skylander ID for Fright Rider, then that means the game recognizes the thing I put on the portal as a Series 2 Fright Rider. Now, of course, it doesn't say Series 2 because the game does realize, well, hang on a minute, Fright Rider was just added. He doesn't have a Series 2 yet. But the game just assumes, oh, well, they must have made a Series 2 of him in the future, so we'll just recognize this as a special Fright Rider. Now, ultimately, that doesn't mean that this Fright Rider gets too much, but what it does mean is it's still logged as a separate figure and adds to the total. So yeah, there's a bunch of Skylanders where if they didn't have reposes from the future, I simply just made one up and the game's just like, oh yeah, sure, that probably existed. And that is how we get to the otherwise impossible number of 171 Skylanders logged onto this save file. In case you're wondering, the most stacked element is magic, as you get Ninjini, Scarlet Ninjini, and then the fake Series 2 Ninjini. You then also get Pop Fizz, Light Core Pop Fizz, and Punch Pop Fizz, with a special Pop Fizz if you try and put Super Gulp or anything like that on the portal, any of the Series 2s, 3s, whatever. You get Spyro, Spyro Series 2, Special Spyro, which obviously could be a Series 3 or any other kind of manner of thing. There's also Series 1 Dark Spyro, Series 1 Legendary Spyro, and then for Voodoo, there's Series 1 Voodooed and Eon's Elite just being recognized as Special Voodooed. And then for Double Trouble, you got Series 1, Series 2, Royal, and Special. And finally for Wrecking Ball, you got Series 1, Series 2, and Special. So yeah, that element in particular is very stacked, and that does mean I believe that Magic will get a higher damage bonus than any other element in this game when you max it out like that. One last disclaimer is that for the fun of the challenge, this will be done on a completed save file. I'm still going to go through every level, but I'm just going to be chapter selecting my way through the game. I just say that to be clear about the fact that I am going to have everything unlocked as I go through all these levels. That's kind of part of the spirit of this being the most souped up Drobot possible. Obviously, if I started a new file, I wouldn't have Lookatron wheels, and so I wouldn't be getting the full damage bonus. But one last thing before we get into the meat of this and start actually playing some levels, I just have to moan a little bit. I remember hearing a rumor, I don't remember where I heard this, that Light Core Skylanders have higher stats than their originals. I don't believe that was true, but I wanted to double check, and I couldn't find any confirmation or, debunking of that online. So I thought, right, fine, gonna have to do it myself then. So I went out of my way to create a duplicate of my Light Core Drobot that was a completely fresh figure with absolutely no upgrades or anything. And then I went out of my way to create a duplicate of my normal Drobot figure that also was a completely fresh duplicate. I compared the stats and what do you know, they're exactly the same. So that was definitely a lie. Why am I bringing this up? I actually tried to record this video over an hour ago, and it completely flopped because it turns out when I created a duplicate of my Light Core Drobot that was a completely fresh figure, it freaked out the game and it completely undid a good 2/3 of the progress I'd made on this Skylander. For one, it reverted its health back to 290 as if it was level 1 again, even though it was maximum level. And for two, it also uncompleted a good 30 heroic challenges. Another thing I've gotten out of the way. Oh no. That's not good. So why has that happened? I don't know why it was only the first 30 on the menu and all the ones at the end were still done, but I had to sit down and recomplete after already having had to complete all of these challenges, all 45 of them. I had to sit down and recomplete an extra 30. You're welcome. Oh boy, that was not fun, but at least, I've been doing a lot of heroic challenges recently because I've been doing some prep work on other Skylanders I might do this kind of video with. And I will say this, doing it with Drobot gave me a new appreciation for just how much faster everything in this game is with Drobot. My god. I know that when I sat down and did all the heroic challenges for Sprocket, that took me a good 3 or 4 hours, and then I did it with Drobot with 30 out of the 45 heroic challenges, and it was 1 hour. And don't get me wrong, that still sucked, but it's wow, that is a lot faster. With all that said, I'm going to get into it now, so don't worry. I am going to still talk about a few more things to do with how we can unlock the full potential of Drobot, but these are a lot more gameplay orientated. So, let's go. Oh yeah, also I'm using the wing boots. I'm not going to bother switching magic items, don't worry. It's literally just speed for the sake of making this as fast as possible. If you want to, I could even get rid of it, if you don't want any magic items in the next one. I don't want to do any swapping, basically. I want this to be a non-stop play session. It slows down the game if I have to keep swapping. So I'm mostly just using this for convenience. Especially because, right now, we're just pushing turtles. It's nice to be able to just, do this. Right. And obviously, this first level is going to be a breeze. Even if we're on Nightmare difficulty, it's just It's very, very easy. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, hearing people talk in game while I'm talking is still knocking me way more than I thought it would. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that just... That is genuinely... I'm so bad at keeping a train of thought and talking while I'm hearing other, like, voices talk, even if I've heard them a billion times and I know they're not important. Now, I can't swap at all, so we're not doing elemental gates, except maybe tech ones. You know what, that'd be a nice wrinkle to add to the challenge. Maybe I have to do the tech gates. Nah, like, if there was an ambush in there, I would do it. You know, just for the spirit of the challenge, like, having to do the ambushes. But I don't believe there are any tech ambushes. Well, I say I don't believe, I know there aren't any tech ambushes in this game, so... Yeah. I'll just... I guess I'll probably skip the tech gates then, especially because most of them are, like, puzzles. So, like, they're not really the kind of thing we're trying to play around here. We're trying to mostly do, like, combat and things like that. There we go. Okay, so there really wasn't a lot to that first level, as I kind of expected. I say that, I did expect that to be easy. I kind of forgot just how easy that was going to be. Like, that was... wow. Yeah. But Junkyard Isles is probably the first level where, if we really screw up, we could maybe die. There are bark demons. As much as it pains me to skip the peak dialogue, I must do what I must and just play through as fast as possible. And I must also start showing you how you can optimize your DPS on Drobot to get the most out of him outside of just the upgrades. So, you're gonna see me doing this a lot. I don't know how... Like, some of this is literally just, like, how Drobot works, but, like, it's a mechanic no one uses, so I don't know how obscure or how well-known this is. So, Drobot has an upgrade that most people don't seem to like. It's called Hover Mode, where if you hold down Flight instead of tapping it, you go into Hover Mode. You're actually slower in this mode, but you still have the increased armor that Flight gives you, and you can at least move from side to side without turning, which can allow you to fire more accurately while dodging. So, you know, already Hover Mode is a little bit underrated. But the real thing that makes Hover Mode so good is the fact that less people seem to be aware of the fact that if you go into Hover Mode when you're already flying, it remembers you were flying beforehand and goes straight back into flying. And so, what you can do is combine with the Afterburner Soul Gem, where you shoot fire out the back while you're flying that deals significant damage. You can actually do even more DPS with Drobot than your lasers do by getting close to enemies and then sort of facing away from them and just constantly cancelling like your hover mode into the afterburners, into hover mode, into afterburners. You've probably seen me doing it before in background footage. It is a really good way to increase your damage on Drobot. So it's a bit awkward when they just get knocked away like that, to be fair, but definitely works better against bigger enemies that just don't, like, they don't care about the knockback, they just stay there. But I felt like I had to show it off either way. Alright, now we got a Bark Demon. Here's gonna be our first real enemy. How do we fare against this? Well, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for Nightmare difficulty Bark Demon, just like melting it like that. Safe to say, we are pretty strong, as I had hoped. I like multitasking like that, personally. You can dodge that very quickly with the fly. You see, this is, like, a big reason why I'm such a fan of Drobot. Don't get me wrong, like, the laser eyes are most of his character. That's definitely my biggest problem with Drobot, is that, like, it's not at all controversial to say the blade gears suck, and everyone just plays him for, like, the laser vision. But I feel like people do miss out on the flight. Like, they're so used to thinking flight is useless that they don't really recognize how different Drobot's flight is and how useful it actually really is to make use of. What? I was mentally asleep. I was thinking, I got the wall and the key door mixed up. Okay, so there's a key. Now how's this gonna go? Hopefully pretty easily. Unfortunately, we can't kill the spawners because we're not a giant, so we can't pick up a rock and blow up the gate, so we're gonna have to fight all these enemies. Then again, that's kind of an upside, actually. More to show off. By the way, we just dealt over 130 damage there with that one afterburner hit, because we got both a crit and the elemental damage boost. Oh, I got greedy there. Hey, I actually got hit. Alright. Yeah, come on, come down here. Come down. Get down from there. I didn't need to do that. That's my bad. Alright. You might notice that I am going to occasionally use blade gears. I obviously don't deny that they're bad, but the main reason they can be useful is because they shoot backwards while you're flying. And that is actually more useful than you'd think. Obviously, nothing else really allows you to shoot backwards, so being able to shoot that projectile backwards while you're flying, if you fly past something, you know, sometimes there's just no other way you can hit a target without, like, turning around, which might take too long. Yeah, we get our key. We get another combat when we come out of the house. Oh yeah, I hope you appreciate the face cam overlay, by the way. I spent more time than I'd like to admit on it, because it was a little awkward to, well, I say Photoshop together, I wasn't using Photoshop, I was just using my video editor. I'm gonna be honest, like, I basically use my video editor like an image editor half the time. Oh, right, this is the part where we have to talk to Persephone, but we have no upgrades, so... Yep, goodbye. But yeah, I remember I always used to actually keep all the Skylanders cards. I know it's just supposed to be like playing top trumps with it, but like I remember I made up my own like card game with them, with different like abilities. And I must admit, I don't remember. I wish I could remember a lot of the specifics of how it worked. I remember the gist was like you had like board slots, and like Skylanders could only attack what was in front of them. And the idea was like you killed a Skylander using like the strength stat, but then like if someone had a higher defense stat, they could block it, and if they had a higher agility stat, they could dodge the hit. And I remember Look did something, but it was driving me mad. Like I had to come up with something special that Look would do, and I don't remember what I set it up to do. Man, I wish I could remember more of like what I made up for my little like Skylanders card game using all the top trumps cards that came with the Skylanders. But of course, I had to pay homage to that, considering that I made such good use of them when I was younger. I thought it might be nice to turn one of those into a little face cam frame. That's another good use for hover mode right there, is being able to just correct like your movements a bit so you can keep flying. Oh yeah, I forgot I need to hit the locks. For a second I was like, wait, why did it not end? I killed the enemies. Yeah, the lock. That's kind of the reason we're using this. Right, well, Junkyard Isles proves itself to be another really, really easy one. Not a surprise. Starting to think, when will this probably start getting actually a little challenging? I'm not entirely sure. Because I doubt Cutthroat Carnival is going to pose a problem. I suppose there are the Executioners. I think if I was a giant, that would prove a problem, but like, I'm Drobot, so I don't think the Executioners are really going to be tough. That also means Glacier Gully should be pretty easy. Oh yeah, getting ahead of myself. Trying to rush through the level too quickly. Let me think. I mean, Secret Vault of Arkeyan Secrets, I know they're the Arkeyan Shield Juggernauts, and that's the first time they're going to show up, but I still think it should be pretty easy so long as I'm patient. Wilikin Village would be easy. Troll Home Security should be easy, right? Kaos Kastle, I imagine, would be pretty easy. Aerial Attack. You know, I know that's like... That's not a level I think of as hard, but that might be where it starts getting a little tough. Mostly just because it's so close quarters, though. I don't think even necessarily it'll be hard because, like, it's really hard, like, naturally. I think it's just, like, there's not going to be a lot of space to run around. There's a lot of very tight spaces in that level. And that, bearing in mind I'm a very ranged Skylander, that might be a bit of a problem. Trilex's Big Rig probably won't be that bad either. It probably won't really get that bad except for Aerial Attack, and then, like, obviously the last 3 levels in the Arkeyan City are all going to be where the difficulty really ramps up. Hello, Brock. Right, okay. Let's see how fast Brock dies. Okay, there's actually a lot of life spell punks. Never mind. I was going to see if I could rush him down before the life spell punks could really start out healing me, but that is an absurd amount of life spell punks. I don't think I've ever spent this long fighting Brock. Usually the fight is over really, really quickly. I feel like that's more life spell punks than I feel like that's more life spell punks than what usually spawns. I could be wrong. I'm not complaining. Get a bit more of a fight out of them. It's pretty nice. Right, well, we unfortunately cannot get past Skystone. Well, we can make it pretty easy with my current deck, perhaps. Mayhaps. Let's get the weakest stone out first. Though, to be fair, I guess since I always go second, I don't have to play my weakest stone, but I don't know, let's add some stakes. There's some really scary stakes. I'm showing my weakness here. You never know, this guy, he might be able to beat me, you know? He might be crazy. I don't think this guy's beating me. Man, if I was this guy, I would tear my hair out. But I'm glad that I'm not this guy, because I wouldn't want to tear my hair out. I love my hair, it's my baby. Right. Now that we have successfully pay-to-winned this guy out of his favourite card game and ruined it forever for him, let's go deal with the Goliath Drow. Can't get the kill in. I'm very close though. I was about to say I couldn't get the kill in before he gets his second charge, but I was very close there. He died very, very soon after the first charge. Alright, once again, gonna focus these Cyclopters first. Don't give them a chance to turn invincible. I would say this is working out pretty well. God, I'm wondering how much of the early game I'm going to cut out here just because, like, it's kind of a massacre. I really don't know how much of this is content, you know? Oh, we have to do a bonus Skystones game because we can't swap to a giant. Didn't think about that one. Ugh. Oh, is it over? Right, there we go. I'm not a Skystones hater, it's just like, you know, when I'm at this point in the game. Okay, why is this unskippable? Come on, let me go. I need to speedrun. You don't understand, like, my setup has terrible lighting unless the sunlight, the natural sunlight is coming in through my window. If I take too long, the sun might start to set, and then my lighting, not lightning, my lighting's gonna be garbage. Yeah, okay, I see. Why is this unskippable? Seriously, why are the most useless cutscenes in Giant unskippable? Like, they'll actually have, like, extremely important cutscenes be skippable, and then they'll have, like, stuff like that be unskippable. Not you. I've heard stories about you.
Oh, thank you. And say, how about a game now that I'm free? Promise I'll only cheat a little.
Whenever I get here, I always do this the completionist way, so I always get everything. But I genuinely am realizing I don't even remember what is, like, actually needed to progress through this part of the level and what is just to get collectibles, so I might end up, like, sleepwalking into doing everything when I don't need to do some of the things I'm doing. We'll see, I'll see if I can remember, like, what is the bare minimum and what is just, like, the bonus stuff. You see, now I'm getting a bit greedy, to be fair. I did just run headfirst into that because I just thought, well, I'll kill everything, won't I? And to be fair, though, I feel like I didn't take that much damage. I'm kind of surprised. Like, 100 damage from an Executioner in Nightmare mode? That seems pretty low. spawn camping. Classic. Just don't even let them through the doors. See, now I'm getting worried. Like, genuinely, though. Like, I know this is going well, but, like... Are we somehow not on Nightmare Mode? I wish there was a way I could instantly, like, double-check, because, like, this is my Nightmare Mode file, and I don't believe there's any way you can change it in Giants, but, like... I genuinely am a little suspicious. Like, the enemy speed, they're dying a little faster than I would expect from Nightmare Mode, but maybe that's just because we really have got that much damage. I could believe that. But, like, the damage is what's concerning me. I feel like we are taking way less damage than I would expect for a Nightmare Mode, but maybe it genuinely just is that low. Anyway, I know I'm leaving the level already, it's just because I don't really want to do the last Skystones game, but that's the last combat in the level, so we're done for now. We can move on to Glacier Gully. I'm sorry, Bago Boom. Your services are no longer required as I already have the legendary treasure. As such, death. No, you got one attack cycle in! This is actually the end of the world. Right, well, hopefully we'll be able to... Yeah, let's just make sure these armored guys don't even get a chance. Force of habit. I immediately went to teleport over to the legendary treasure. Don't even need it. Already have it. Oh yeah, I just realized something I forgot to mention earlier. Why not Series 2 Drobot? Well, to be honest with you, it wasn't a super thought out decision. It was just the Light Core Drobot figure was the one that I... Oh yeah, I'm stupid. The Light Core Drobot figure was the one that I put lots of time into. Like, that wasn't really an intentional thing. At first it was just like, oh hey, I'm gonna have one Drobot that does one upgrade path and one that does the other. And then I actually looked at what his WoW PAL was, and I was like, oh, wait, that's kind of like a, you know, a gear-focused WoW PAL, so I suppose I should give it to the Drobot on the gear path. And obviously the gear path sucks. So my Series 2 Drobot is on the gear path, which we don't want to play, so my Light Core's on the laser path. That being said, I might still like work on a fake Series 3 Drobot. I've already made a fake Series 3 Drobot. Obviously, it doesn't actually have a Series 3 WoW PAL again, to be clear, but it does get to switch upgrade paths, and the game recognizes it as a Series 2, but also as a separate kind of figure that is, like, it says it's special, you know, it doesn't recognize it as, it gives it the Series 2 WoW PAL, but it doesn't recognize it as an actual Series 2. Did I hit this again by accident? I didn't mean to do that. That's annoying. Oh yeah, that's another thing. These ice cubes, you can actually turn the laser away just before they finish melting. And the last bit, like the last puddle, will do automatically, even if you disconnect the laser. If you disconnect it too soon, it won't work, and it will actually just stay where it was. But once it gets to that sort of puddle state, where it starts shrinking, like, and becoming less wide, at that point, you can just disconnect the laser, and it completes the entire thawing animation. Alright, there we go. That's Glacier Gully done. Let's move on. Alright. Well, this is going to be a bit tedious. To be clear, I do like this level. I think this level is cool and sick and good. On a first-time playthrough. Kind of like Aerial Assault, I think this level becomes a lot less fun on repeat playthroughs, just because so much of it is in the Arkeyan robot. At the very least, it's not as egregious as the Arkeyan Armory level from Spyro's Adventure, where this mechanic was first introduced, and it just controls a lot better than that. It's a lot more fun and enjoyable, but it's still pretty slow. It's not the most enjoyable thing to re-experience. But at least, as I say, it's less egregious in this game. It is a shame, though, because even when you're out of the Arkeyan robot, you'd think, oh, okay, so now that we're out of the robot sections, we get to do some real combat. And there is a bit of that, but even then, a lot of the gameplay outside of the robot in this level is not even really combat. A lot of it is lot puzzles, a lot of it is waiting for the electric zaps on the gates to move. You know, this is just one of those levels, you can't beat it fast even if you want to. There just isn't a way to, like, quickly end it. Which is a shame because, oh boy, especially with these early levels, do I want them to be over quickly and moving on to the real meat as fast as possible. Now, these Arkeyan bombers might prove useful in some of the harder characters that we might cover later that aren't as good in Nightmare mode. For Drobot, we don't really need them, but the Arkeyan bombers do an enormous amount of damage. So if we're using a Skylander that isn't very good at killing, or just doesn't have a very good safe attack to use, these Arkeyan bombers can be a godsend in some of those fights later. But for now, Drobot's good. We threaded the needle. Right, you're going to be annoying, so I've got to... It's a good thing I'm doing enough damage to stagger them the second they try to attack. That at least makes those pretty easy, actually. The Arkeyan Jousters. I don't know why I forgot their name for a second. It was nagging me. I was just calling them those because I'm like, I know their name, I know their name, I know their name. Why can I not remember their name? You know, usually when I play on Nightmare, I'm obviously not doing it here because I'm just playing for speed, but usually when I play on Nightmare, I like actively try not to use the Arkeyan bombers because I actually want to see my Skylander do the work to kill things, but like sometimes the Arkeyan bombers, like, they throw the bombs at me so much eventually it's like, well, I've got to throw it somewhere, and I try and throw it away from an enemy, and then I just blow up an enemy by accident. I'm like, well, I actually wanted to fight you, I didn't want to blow you up instantly with this. Despite the fact that, like, I do have a few figures that I have lots of spare money on, I don't think I've ever actually maxed out the money counter. I want to try and do that with this Drobot at some point, because I feel like I could definitely do it. Oh, is this where we get our first Arkeyan Shield Juggernaut in this level? I think it is. I think it's waiting up. Yeah, it's waiting up there. Right. Oh, it's a tech zone as well. I just realized. Oh my god! Did you see some of those damage numbers? Oh my god! Yeah, that's just. Yeah, safe to say this Drobot is pretty good. Oh hey, I can show you a cool exploit here that's pretty easy to do. The amount of moves that you should need to complete this puzzle obviously are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, but you can do it in 2. I don't know how well known this is, but it's not that hard to do. You can just do this. So, I didn't get this for a while. Like, I knew you could do this, but I didn't know why sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think I might know now. I think it's that, essentially, the reason it works is, first of all, I do think you need a certain amount of time. Like, if the window is too short, I think it just locks out your input. But I think if you have a long enough window of time, and on top of that, you have a teleporter, which is on, like, a platform, so to speak. Like, you know, if that teleport wasn't there, the lock puzzle imp would have stopped there. You know, he wouldn't have kept moving. He would have just landed and stopped in that position. It means the game thinks you're in a position where you can, like, flip when you're not. And so you can actually spin and keep turning the lock mid-air, like, while you're going through a teleporter, when it otherwise shouldn't be possible. Alright. Secret Vault of Arkeyan Secrets down. Wilikin Village is next. It's really easy to forget how easy the combat is in Wilikin Village. It's kind of like striking, actually. Like, it's weirdly easy. Like, I'm not saying this is a late game level, but, like, for a level this... It's 7 out of 16, which, you know, I'm not saying... Like, it's still the first half of the game, but, like, it feels like it is easier in terms of combat than a lot of levels that come before it. I would say that this, like, level's combat is definitely easier than the Vault. It's definitely easier than Glacier Gully. And I'd even say it's probably easier than the Pirate Carnival. Oh, I always forget. I have to do a little bit of waving for a second there. I'm going to be honest, I've been silent for almost this entire chapter just because a lot of it has been a bit of a joke, and I've just been trying to rush through it, but I actually have to do a decent amount of bobbing and weaving there for a second. Alright, well, time to fight Chonky Mage. But you know what? Okay, I always used to enter this fight in the real world, rather than the Wilikin wheel, just to show off, hey, look, the Wilikin just comes to life, like on its own, like, haha, isn't that funny? But it does actually put you at a disadvantage, and so for the sake of doing this fight faster, I'm going to... Oh, but that does mean we get this cutscene, I always forget, the way that she tells you about the Chompy Mage. At least it's skippable. But yes, so if you didn't know, if you start this fight in the real world rather than the Wilikin world, then all these Chompies will be normal Chompies rather than Fuego Chompies, which means that you can't actually get the Chompy Mage to damage themselves by eating them. So it takes longer to end the first phase. We don't want to have that, so... There we go. Oh. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember the last time I've ever, like, triggered that. I got greedy and I thought I'd try and, like, afterburn him. I didn't actually know that cancelled, like, he already ate Chompies, but it kind of cancelled it. Huh. I feel that's one of those things I probably used to know, but now I'm so used to, like, just, like, blitzing this fight that, like, it's been so long since I made that mistake, I didn't really, like, remember that. I thought it was like if he sucked you in too close, like he swallowed you. Oh, well, that's the end of the fight anyway. I thought it swallowed you, and I thought, oh, well, like, he can't swallow me from here, so that's fine. But it looks like it just bites you and then it ends there. Huh. Well, that does Wilikin Village. I think I'm going to split this up into 2 days. So getting to the halfway point by completing Troll Home Security seems like a fitting time to cut this off. Unfortunately, we aren't a giant, so we've got to take the long route here. Oh my god, no, Flynn, shut up. Why? 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 Why is that a thing? Why do you have to do that? And then to skip, because to skip the cutscene, I have to press the button that throws the bomb. Okay. Whatever, that was a little, stupid. Oh, that's just it. Wow, that was quick. Oh, I don't know what that is. Interesting. Alright, we're back and ready to tackle Kaos Kastle. I don't really expect this one should be too difficult either, but to be fair, I suppose I struggle to remember specifically that many enemies. I suppose there are those weird, like, Arkeyan clone things. I always forget the name of these enemies because they don't show up a lot. The enemies that, like, they make clones themselves. You have to figure out which ones are the real ones. There are those enemies to worry about in this level, which you don't really see too many of. There's a lot of trolls, I remember, and the trolls are pretty easy. Obviously, a few Cyclopses too. Yeah, these guys. I always forget what these guys are called. It's a shame, because usually I actually do remember most of the enemy names, but you just don't see these enemies a lot. Oh, I suppose we can do the tech gate. Let's go. Never mind. Let's see if we can fly through here without losing our flight. I think we can do it. Yeah, there we go. I mean, kind of got stuck on the bone pile, but we got through technically. A lot of puzzles in this level, so probably not going to be as much actual combat. Probably going to be a lot of time just moving between traps and pushing blocks. I suppose that's kind of made up for by the arena fight at the end of the level. That will obviously make things a bit more exciting. You guys obviously know I don't typically record with a face cam. This is pretty new to me. For a while I've just not bothered with a face cam, but even if I wanted one, like I could have gotten one earlier, it's just... like, how much does it add to the video? But But now that I am choosing to use one for the videos where I think it makes the most sense, like I think it works for a video like this, I do feel like, I don't know, this is such a simple problem, but like, I feel like it doesn't really look good when half the time, like right now I'm looking at the center of the screen, but it probably looks like I'm like looking at the floor view or something. But like, no, that's just the center of the screen for me. Like I have to like look away from the screen to like look into the camera. I keep feeling the instinct to, okay, don't look stupid, look into the camera as you talk, but then it's like, okay, but then I'm not looking at the screen and it's nightmare mode and I probably shouldn't get destroyed because I'm not really watching the screen. Right, little combat encounter here, but if I remember right, this one's pretty easy. Just one of those troll mechs. Okay, come on, jump down. I also remember this. This encounter, if you kill the enemies too fast, they take ages to drop down sometimes. And of course, we're kind of pretty well equipped to do exactly that, killing the enemies way too fast. Like the troll mech in particular, I think it actually walks all the way to the other side of the castle. We'll keep an eye out for it in a second. And I think that, like, if I remember right, takes it. Yeah, it walks all the way over there. He just taking his time. He's coming. Don't worry. He's coming. Oh, here he is. That was really stupid. That was really bad of me. I hate the armor, man. I hate it. I hate it. I sometimes love it, but I usually hate it. Alright, got a bunch of trolls to fight in here. Oh, and this is actually a tech zone, too, so... I didn't see a grenade. Hello? Am I blind, or was there no grenade there? I am, like, certain I just blew up out of nowhere. Oh, and this is actually a tech zone, too, so... You know, am I crazy, or are these Cyclopses spinning for less time than usual, but also charging up faster? Like, I'm probably just crazy, but it feels like usually they take longer to charge up, but they also spin for longer. I think I kind of prefer it this way anyway, so I'm not complaining. But like, I swear usually the Cyclopses just don't stop. I swear usually it's like they just spin forever before they let you hit you. But they're actually not being too nasty this time. Alright, I actually have to be a little bit careful here. Not necessarily because this is going to be the hardest arena, but you probably noticed I've been playing very sloppy so far, I'll fully confess. A lot of that is just because it's the earlier levels. This isn't really the real challenge yet. So I'm kind of trying to rush through them as fast as possible, I'll confess, which maybe isn't in the best spirit of the video. Maybe I need to be try-harding and putting on get my game face the whole way, even if it is pretty easy, just for the sake of the video. I don't know, maybe I should be doing that, but I don't know. I'm trying to get through these ones fast. But to be fair, if I rush this too much, I am going to put myself at danger of actually losing, when I probably shouldn't have a chance in hell of losing this. Just because I do stupid things to try and rush the fight quickly. But so far, it's looking pretty good. Okay, that's round one done. That's always one. Come on, there you go. You know what? I'm actually going to stop looking at the enemies I'm shooting and just basically stare at these grenades, because they keep, like, I keep apparently getting hit by grenades that I never even seen on the screen, so I need to, like, actually keep my eyes peeled for them. That seemed to work. I mean, we didn't really have a lot of time fighting there to test it out, but it seemed like just staring at the grenades and ignoring the actual trolls kind of worked. Man, that spell pool took a lot of knockback there. Okay, still pretty easy so far. Final wave. Oh, did I miscount? Or is it... I don't remember. Is the final wave just the boss, or were there 3 waves and then the boss? Because I seem to have it in my head it was 3 waves and then the boss. Wait, why didn't that hover... Okay, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I tried to do the hover cancel tech and it just sort of stopped. There we go. Don't need to worry about the last battle pumps, you just kind of rush them down. And that's Kaos Kastle done. Alright, aerial attack is the first level that actually does pose a bit of a minor concern to me. Not necessarily because it's hard by normal means, but Drobot, a lot of his strength comes from the fact that he has really good damage to say that he's also a ranged character who's also very fast, which means that you can be very, very safe with him. But this level has very close quarters combat, so even if the enemies aren't that tough, if they're tough enough and it's really close quarters, I might get caught in situations where I just don't have anywhere to run, or I just can't shoot anyone without already getting in point-blank range where they're already gonna, like, destroy me. Alright, let's see. This encounter might end up being a little tough, just because, again, not a lot of space, but we'll see. It might not be so bad. What the hell was that? Oh my god, I tried to, like, cancel my flight so many times and it just wouldn't cancel for some reason, and then when it finally cancelled, it instead, like, had already cancelled anyway because it hit something. So it, like, buffered me to re-fly? That was so weird. There we go. Oh, right, yeah, I forget. Yeah, the reason they keep spawning Bagaboons. Of course. Yeah, my bad. A bit focused on the combat there. Oh. I know it looks really stupid. I was a bit too focused on, like, what I was saying there rather than looking at the screen, and I just thought Bagaboon was going to throw the bomb where I was going, and I was going the opposite direction, so I just didn't expect him to have the read like that. Usually I would go for a couple more risky plays here just for the sake of seeing if I can get any shortcuts, but these things will nuke my health bar probably if I touch them, and I probably shouldn't play around with that given how tough these encounters might be. No, don't cancel the flight! Why? There we go. Maybe there's some times where I'm pressing the button too fast, and because I'm pressing it too fast, it's like saving inputs way after I press them and like messing up my flight. Because it keeps doing that. It keeps... There we go. It keeps, like, not listening to me pressing the flight button, and then actually pressing it after I've stopped pressing it. I'm just checking the auric shots every time, because I'm pretty sure I bought everything on this Nightmare Mode save file, but there are a couple smaller things I might not have bothered with, like you saw earlier in the Chaos level. I actually had a battle arena that I hadn't bought yet in Kaos Kastle, which I clearly just forgotten about. So, you know, I'm just checking the shop every time in case there's something I've actually missed on this file. I know I've not missed anything important that I would need to buy. Here's our first big fight in this level, but thankfully it's in a wide open area, so it really shouldn't pose too much of a challenge. So maybe the Chompy Bot, but I don't know, I think that'll be fine. If I was a giant, I'd be scared of the Chompy Bot, but as Drobot, it shouldn't be a worry. There we go. Right, and then we dodge. And then we come on, Afterburner, actually connect. Also, why does this thing take knockback from Afterburner? It's giant! How does it not take... How does it... Let me try that again. How does this thing take massive knockback from Afterburner? It's like the size of a building. Ugh. Let's get that armor off ASAP. Wait, can I just... Yeah, no, I can just keep doing this. Goodbye. Now you are actually going to get to attack, but that's fine. That was maybe a little risky of me, but I was pretty confident his charge would stop there. But honestly, in hindsight, maybe though, even if I was pretty confident, I probably shouldn't play with fire like that. Oh no, Chompy spawned, we're good. Well, he's getting armor hit, so he's nearly dead. There we go. Never mind, that didn't take too long. I got a little worried there. I thought for sure I'd just fly through. Yeah, no. I need to remember that small breakable objects will in fact be the death of me. But yeah, here we go. Here's the final fight for this level. Shouldn't be too bad. It's still a little cramped, but it's pretty open, all things considered. The main issue, I think, is going to be making sure to grab the bombs from the Bagaboons while I'm fighting, if I want to do it quick. But I could just, like, kill all the enemies and not focus on the cannon until I've killed everything if things actually get sketchy. But so far, this has been pretty good. If anything, funnily enough, even though I was a little worried for this level, I think this is the least... Wait, have I actually been hit this level? I might have lost track. I don't think I have. This might be in the first level I've actually no-hit, which is kind of sad, but, like, a lot of the other levels, like, I would take little hits just because, like, I want to get through them quickly, and I would just, like, rush past something that I thought I could run past in time. But, here. Oh, I completely forgot this is a tech zone, too. Oh, we are so good. Okay, here's the Bagaboon. That was a little close, but yeah, it's just a Drobot archer. We'll be fine either way. Gonna get rid of those archers just to remove any chance. Is that actually it? I feel like there should be more enemies, but it looks like that might be it. Again, we might have just shredded them so fast that, like, we never really got to see... We never even really noticed how fast we got... Let me start that sentence, like, 5 times over. Yeah, maybe we just killed them so fast that just, like, that was it. It just feels like it should be more, because they don't usually die that quickly. Drill X's big rig. Should be pretty easy, bar one thing that might pose a concern. You see, I don't know if it's consistent, but you might remember I'm playing with no voice and no music right now, for the sake of this video, and the last time, which was only recently, that I ever tried to beat this level with no music, it appeared that turning off the music bugged Drillex's cutscenes, and it skipped the cutscene that takes you from phase 1 into phase 2, where he destroys the pipes. And because it had bugged the cutscene, oh my god, because it had bugged the cutscene, the pipes never got destroyed, and that meant the bounce pads were never available, which means in phase 2, that was a lot more difficult than it needed to be because there was no way to jump to avoid the drill. Thankfully, it kind of fixed itself in phase 3, but yeah, phase 2 was a nightmare with that bug. Now, hopefully, that was a one-off freak bug. I really hope it's not a consistent, oh no, that happens every time you play the fight with no music. Oh, I didn't actually realize the conveyor belt could spin you like that. That's convenient, though. Okay, a lot of inhuman shields here. How are you not dead? Alright, we get a lot of flamethrowers now. Those are fine. Especially because I can just kind of like bully them from here. Oh no, they don't seem to be wanting to spin me this time. I'm not sure what was up with that. Must have been like a very specific... Oh yeah, I forgot about this bug. I completely forgot. Okay, so that probably looked weird to you. I completely forgot the conveyor belts in this level sometimes lock you in hover mode and like lock all your movement. Like if I try and use hover mode on a conveyor belt, sometimes it just completely locks out all of my movement. And I'm just stuck, like, floating there. Right. Right, one of the patrols always bugs here. Yeah, that troll always does that. Like, Is that consistent 100% of the time? Because I only remember that happening once. Like, that did happen to me when I was younger, but I feel like it only happened once or twice. Whereas, like, ever since I started playing this game on emulator, I swear every single time that troll does that. I don't think I've played this level once since I got Giants on emulator and not seen that specific troll just die instantly the second he spawns. I'm gonna be greedy, I'm gonna be greedy! Greed is never punished! I have not learned a single thing. I will rush every level, I shall take no precautions, and I will not die for it, for I am Drobot. Oh yeah, this would be the first crystal golem, right? Come to think of it, you don't see a lot of these guys, do you? You see him in Molekin Mountain, you see him here. Oh, you probably see them in the Oracle in some of the areas. I forget if you do, but you probably do. And then I suppose it shows up briefly in Aurogyro Adventure. I don't remember if it ever shows up on the main path, but it definitely at least shows up in one of the little side rooms. You know, come to think of it, I don't think it shows up in either of the last two levels, though. Right, let me just quickly check the shop again. I'm pretty sure we'll be good. I suppose this is a Skystones cheat, I'll buy that. Or a lock puzzle key. I should probably get that while I'm here. Or I'll get 3, maybe. Okay, time to see if this will actually pose a problem. I think we're probably good. But if the bug happens, it will put me in a bit of trouble. Okay. Usually I would go for some sneaky pot shots while, like, you know, that whole rock thing is flying out. I'm not gonna take the risk. I'm gonna play this one safe. Oh yeah, I never really thought about this. The charm that increases our damage to large targets does not seem to work versus Drill X. I assume bosses are exempt. Interesting. Okay, moment of truth. Are you going to... Oh! Okay, yeah, I just realized. Yeah, I played it fine. There's the cutscene. Okay, so we're good. That, I guess, was just a one-time thing, then. This might be a no-hit. Phase 3, phase 3, phase 3, phase 3. I think I've done enough damage. I don't even think his health bar's going down, is it? I think it's just like waiting for this to end before... Or... Yeah, I was going to say... I think, yeah. Right, that's a good thing we got the bounce pads. what the... Okay, right, sure, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter, just... No hit then. Ugh. He just, like, magically rotated about 30 degrees or so instantly. I just thought, oh, I better get rid of this Inhuman Shield early, because he's going to catch me out, and sure enough, he catches me out anyway. Well, on that very awkward note. Now, unfortunately, because we're not a giant, we can't kill any of these spawners, so we'll see if that poses a problem. I did not think this through. This area is too small. Okay, right. That's me trying to go too fast again, but I can't help myself. I don't want to go slow. That's boring. Yeah, if I remember correctly, this combat goes on for a while if you can't break the spawners, but it shouldn't be too tough. This level does... I think this is the only level with these slobbering things. And that's really interesting, because they're a very unique enemy. They've got some very weird hitboxes. They've got, like, loads of hitboxes, which are simultaneously way bigger and way smaller than you think. Like, there's certain areas where you'd be like, oh my god, how does it hit me from there? But then there's other situations where you can stand, like, right in front of it, and it just doesn't hit you, and you're like, how? It's my mic. I'm coping. It's my mic. That grenade, I literally never saw it on my screen, and I think it's because it was perfectly underneath my mic from my perspective. Because the explosion came from behind where my mic is from my eye's perspective. Oh god. Oh no. I'm gonna have to do this tech gate, but it takes so long. Actually, no, I don't have to do tech gates. What am I on about? Alright, this encounter is a little close quarters, but still probably fine just because the enemies aren't that bad. Like, these guys are the worst it gets, if I remember correctly, and they should not pose too much of an issue if I don't bonk into walls while I'm trying to fly. Let's get out of the way. That claw swipe, if I remember correctly in particular, especially if they dash and do it, the hitbox on it is weird. Like, you can stand directly in their face and it won't hit you, but if you, like, try and run away, it almost feels... Like, it doesn't literally work like this, but it feels like if you try to run away from it, you're more likely to get caught by it. How are you not dead yet? I know it's Nightmare, but, like, my god, man. How are you not dead? Of course you're one shot. If you ever needed a reminder of just how bad Blade Gears are in comparison to everything else Drobot has, like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I'm saying that while on the laser path and not the Blade Gear path, but my god, man. Like, I'm just gonna use these just for a bit for the sake of the fun, but, like, it's so bad. Like, you know, usually the way in which Skylanders characters' moves can be a little imbalanced, I can understand. When it comes to Drobot specifically, I feel like Drobot Blade Gear, like, I've got to be wrong, because there's so many Skylanders out there, but, like, it feels like Drobot Blade Gear must be the single most poorly balanced move on a character's kit in terms of it just being so much weaker than everything else they have. Like, it's actually comical. I'm going to stop doing it now. It is actually comical just how terrible the damage on Blade Gears are and how just useless they are when you have, like, the best projectile in the game and the best flight in the game. Wait, hang on a minute. This arena's kind of boring. They're barely spawning enemies fast enough for me to actually kill them. Okay, there we go. That's a bit more interesting. Damn, I know it's now round 1, but it's also nearly the end of the game. I mean, I think for the last arena in the game, you can step things up a bit. I've never really paid attention to how easy this arena is, at least the first wave of it was. I already kind of didn't mentally register that was the second round. Or is it still going to continue to be easy? It might just continue to be easy, because I think the hard part about this is supposed to be the flamethrower guys, but they just don't have a ranged attack. So, I might be able to bully them out. Let me just get rid of all the grenades, and it should be good. Okay, I mean, I pressed the button to cancel my flight like 4 times, and I don't know why the game didn't respond. So sure, whatever. There we go. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know why sometimes it just doesn't cancel flight. Like, I press the button to cancel flight, and it just keeps going. Okay, whoa, lock in. Don't actually throw. Don't actually throw. Oh, the blade killed him. I didn't even kill him. That's annoying. It's not even the proper way to do it. Okay, here we go. Pipsqueak, toughest boss, defeated. The Nightmare, or whatever it was called, the Night Guy, the Cursed Knight, the suit of armor, the thing that's an enemy in Sparrow's Adventure. Surely this is not... yeah. Alright, on to the coolest level in all of Skylanders. I won't say best, but I will say coolest. See, there are issues with this level that I do have, but a lot of them do not negate how cool of a concept it is. Now, in terms of my choices, I'm basically going to be, in every case, choosing what I wouldn't usually choose as an extra challenge. Just for the sake of seeing paths I don't usually pick. Like, I have seen every path before, but some of them I've only seen, like, that path once, like, ages ago. Well, let's say once. Probably at least 2 or 3 times, but you know what I mean? Like, it has been a long time since I've seen the outcome of some of these paths, just because it, like, I've got my, like, way of completing the level, and I almost always follow the same path. I would mix it up more, but it's just there are some paths that are very annoying, and usually in the effort to skip more annoying paths, I end up skipping other paths that I would like to see a bit more often, but I don't get a chance. I did not remember this Gargantula being this tanky. I suppose it is the biggest Gargantula in the game. It would make sense that it probably has some tweaked stats, but still, I don't think I ever noticed it having more HP than a normal Gargantula. But I'm certain that's got to be more than a usual Gargantula has. Like, that's way too much health for that to be normal. Alright, so the next question is the big fish in a small pond or a little fish in a large sea one. And this is the big one, because at this point, the choices you get in the level from this point onwards change depending on the choice you make here. And this is the big thing I'm on about when I'm saying I miss out on some choices all the time, because I always pick the little fish. Not because it's my honest answer to the question, my honest answer to the question is the big fish, but because I know what is behind these gates. Both of them have basically the same level behind them, unlike a lot of the other ones, but in the small fish one, you are tiny and all the enemies and traps are huge. This gives you a massive advantage, because the stats don't change. They are just massive punching bags that still die super easy and don't do any more damage. Meanwhile, if you go this way, you basically are taking nothing but downsides. Now you're a big fat huge target in a small enclosed space that still takes full damage from all these tiny enemies, and you have a way harder time hitting them because they're tiny. And that's not even the biggest thing. The traps in this level become so much harder to avoid if you pick this path. So I almost never pick it just because it's really annoying, especially the traps. Like, the tiny enemies is only mildly annoying. The tiny enemies I could handle, but the tiny traps, I hate them. They're so annoying. But because I never picked this way, I'm picking it now. Also, I appear to have stun-locked this guy somehow, and I don't know how, but I'm going to take it. So yeah, these. The gaps in the middle of these traps are supposed to be areas you can sit and wait, but in the giant version of this, the gaps are too small. You actually cannot avoid the slamming traps. Like, you just have to wait until they all go down. So it just takes longer to get through the level. It's just tedious. Okay, could you stop getting armor hits? It's obnoxious. Like, I kind of don't know how you're supposed to not get hit here. Like, it's not that bad because it's not going to kill me. Well, actually, I say that. Maybe it will. It's just like, you're just too big and there's no room, like, to move. There's so many projectiles. At least there was until I dealt with the derivators. But, like, you know, everywhere's kind of covered. Oh my god, die already. Oh my god, that took a while. I love how the spider babies are the normal size. Yeah, it's fire versus water. So, I like this one, but I don't get to see it too often because I never pick this path. I would usually pick the water one though, so we're gonna stick with the rule of always pick what you wouldn't usually pick and go with fire. Not a big difference, though. I don't really remember. I want to say the water one is a Gilgrunt ambush. I might be wrong there. And the fire one is an Eruptor ambush. Is it like 3 Eruptors? Or was it like one of each, like in Spyro's Adventure? Like all the 3 guys that were in Spyro's Adventure? 2 Eruptors. Okay. I actually don't remember your attack pattern that well, so I'm actually going to play this safe and, yeah, wait until you do that. It looks like you're pretty easy. You actually, like, I swear usually you chase longer than that. I want to use Afterburners to be more interesting and flashy, but to be honest, I should probably just mash A. Say mash, just hold A, and let this take care of them, because, like, this arena is a little too small to really use Afterburn as well, and the Eruptors are too deadly at close range to really use the fire all too much. That was pretty easy. Maybe the water one would have been harder. Oh, I completely forgot this. What is this? They're doing great. Man, I completely forgot what some of these were. I say some of these, I think this is the only one I won't remember. A Lockmaster? Yeah, I'm remembering it now, but I didn't remember it until I saw this now. Light Beam Perfectionist. Okay, to be fair, I don't like that I have to do puzzles here. I can remember the lock puzzle one pretty well. That was the one I would probably pick more often. So I'm going to go with the Light Beam one, just because it's not what I usually pick, although I probably could get through it faster if it was the lock puzzle one. Yeah, man, I do not remember this even. Like, I know I will have done this before, because I've obviously 100%ed this game a bunch of times, but, like, I don't even remember this place. It has been so long since I've actually gone down this path. Well, to be fair, that was very, very short, so I really thought that was going to be a bigger puzzle than that, but I'm not complaining. Wait, I might break my rule. Break my rule. Okay, so, for those of you who don't already know, though most of you will, the final choice is the choice between knowledge and wealth. If you pick wealth, you get money. Surprise, surprise. If you pick knowledge, you get a hat. However, if you already have the hat, then there's no reason to pick knowledge, right? Well, there is one secret. If you pick knowledge, I think it's 3 times in a row without the hat being there, then eventually I believe you get the Lookatron wheel, I think it was, for this level, as a secret for repeatedly picking knowledge, even though there's nothing there. But I already have both of those things. So I don't believe... Wait, does it have... Oh wait, it has money behind it anyway. And this one also has money. It's the same money, isn't it? Let me check that, because I'm actually just... I always pick wealth. I won't break my rule. Yeah, it is still money. Okay. Alright. I've got to lock in, because these are the levels I am actually interested in doing, starting out with Aurogyro Adventure. These final 3 levels in Arkus are the main ones that I imagine will actually present a problem and make this an actual challenge. We'll see. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Why final 3? Why don't you just skip Aurogyro Adventure? I mean, everyone hates this level, right? Well, you already heard me be a bit of a defender of this level in my Skylanders Giants video recently about just reviewing the entire game. I think this is, even though I'm not generally a fan of vehicle segments, I think this is my favorite vehicle level in any Skylanders game. I think this is actually a really good level and very underrated. It's really grown on me over time. But also, I think a lot of people forget easily, and I don't blame them. If you're thinking, oh, let me do the hardest part of Skylanders Giants, you're probably thinking, let's boot up Bringing Order to Chaos, the final level. Or maybe you're like, well, no, to be fair, I think the Trogs are more difficult, so I'd probably boot up, like, you know, the Lost City of Arkus, the second to final level. But genuinely, I'm not kidding, I think the single hardest combat section in all of Skylanders Giants is the end of Aurogyro Adventure. I think Aurogyro Adventure's ending is way harder than the final boss, way harder than any combat section in the final level, way harder than Lost City of Arkus. It's not even close. You'll see what I mean when we get there. So I actually think the end of this level is going to be, like, the test, you know? The end of this level is going to be the moment where it's do or die, where we have got to show that, like, we are prepared for this. I think if we could do the end of this level without dying, then we could easily beat the rest of the challenge. So I definitely don't want to leave out this level in the big 3, because I genuinely think it is probably going to be the most challenging level in the entire game. See, part of the reason I don't mind this vehicle so much is because the controls for it are actually really smooth, and you're really encouraged to break the auto-scroller feel of it with the whole boost chaining mechanic and you getting money for, like, chaining together boosts and constantly holding down boosts without letting go. I feel like that makes this section a lot more fun than most of the vehicle segments. It just has very consistent controls, and that you are rewarded for going fast rather than being forced to go on a rail and just, like, you know, move at a sluggish speed you can't increase. Alright. You're gonna do the sequence where this guy comes and kills all the little mini trog things. I've forgotten. Are these trog? I don't know why I want to call them trogs. I just realized they're not trogs, are they? Why do I want to call them trogs? They're like weird crystal golem mini things. I think they're just called snippers in this game. Or was that the Spyro's Adventure version? I already forgot. Maybe I'm mixing up the Spyro's Adventure version and the Giants version. Because there were like red little versions of these guys in Dark Light Crypt. I think those are the ones called snippers, come to think of it. But yeah, when I do this challenge in future, I imagine that I'm going to skip the other levels in the game and just go straight to Aurogyro Adventure and just do the final 3. Just because, like, I did all the levels for this video, because it's like, even though I always knew the final 3 levels were going to be the only ones that were a real challenge, I did think to myself, well, you've been surprised before, sometimes you forget there's like one section of a level that's more difficult than you remember. Maybe there'll be a section in a previous level that I didn't remember being so bad that I'll actually get caught out on. Now, obviously I wouldn't really say that's been the case. You know, I'd say so far this has been pretty damn easy. So I probably will skip these earlier levels in future runs just and get to the meat of it, get to those final 3 levels. But... And I go silent because I don't want to throw. This is a rather enclosed space is all. Like, these enemies aren't too threatening, but it's just this is not a lot of room to work with, so yeah, don't do anything stupid, just... Yeah, there we go. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, when I do these in future, I'll probably skip straight to Aurogyro Adventure so I can get straight to the fun stuff, because I think I've recorded a lot of footage of me doing the entire game up to this point, and you'll obviously see in the final video, I don't know right now how much of it is going to get used, but I have a feeling I'm not going to be using a lot of it, because a lot of it is probably really, really boring. There's one Arkeyan bomber gone. Now, to get behind this guy, we have to burn the hell out of him. Destroyed. Destroyed. We move on. Now, I'm a little bit worried about the sword fighters here. These enemies are a nightmare, man. The hitbox size on these guys is just ridiculous. They got... Oh, hell nah, they got Moth Grab. Okay, gotta fight these guys again, of course. I think that's fine. Yeah, honestly, I thought that was a good idea while I did it. That was way riskier. Like, as soon as I started doing it, I'm like, wait, this is way riskier than I thought it would be. Like, that worked, but I don't think I would try that again. We're still no hit so far, though, so that's good. That's a good sign. I'm tired, okay? I genuinely had a moment of absolute dumbfounded confusion there of like, huh? Why won't it let me out? I was actually so bamboozled by that. Oh god. Yeah, it feels bad cheating this encounter, but like, you know, come on. The game's literally set up for you to do that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I knew these stat buffs were definitely gonna help a lot, but I'm still a little pleasantly surprised with just how broken we are. Like, I really haven't had to break a sweat so far in this challenge, like, at all, except for when I've made, like, a couple really dumb mistakes, and a lot of it is basically just self-inflicted. If you're hungry for some real challenge, you want to actually see me squirm, then I will obviously probably try more of these in future with, like, characters that are much worse in Nightmare mode. But for now, we're doing something relatively chill here. Alright, we got one more last combat? Of course we do. Oh wait, we don't even have to do this. I mean, we'll do it. It feels like it's out of the spirit to not do it, but like... We kind of just bullied them. But, you know, I did the combat. Hooray. Right, let's get that big boost chip. I don't want to talk about that. Okay, I need to look at closer at that. I swear I was not even close to touching the ground there, but maybe I am just way off there.
What?
I do want the double, but the boost chain matters more to me. We will get a double later anyway, and it will be worth more. I will take the hit for the boost, I don't care. Every time I see this door, I think, wait, hang on a minute, I thought this was the last section. And I'm like, oh right, yeah, it is the last section. I always forget this door is here in the last section. Oh. I actually never noticed those guys had homing missiles, because I usually destroy them straight away, so like I never even noticed the missiles curve. Okay, right, let me stop throwing for a second then. I genuinely don't think I've ever noticed that their missiles curve. Like, I was really dumbfounded when that hit me for a second there, because like usually I just cruise right through. But yeah, he didn't know you could go left here and sneak past the robot, and there's a double hidden here that gets you about 1,000 treasure, so it's well worth it. You see there, he's too close, so you don't get the chance to see the homing kick in. Right, here we go. Here is where we're actually going to see if we're going to have any trouble for real, because this part is tough, like actually tough. I might just have to resort to holding A. I'm going to try and be interesting and actually use my entire moveset. I say my entire moveset. 2 moves. You know which move isn't getting... You know what, I say that. Let's use Blade Gears for fun. Why not? I mean, this is actually kind of working, just doing it quickly with the flight. No! They just comboed me, man! They just comboed me! I hope you can see that in the footage too. I'm mashing fly and he just won't fly. I think the game thinks he's caught on something. Maybe he technically is caught on a robot, but it doesn't look like I should be caught on anything there. That's... God damn it, I gotta do it all again. No! Alright, well I did tell you, that is the single hardest combat section in the entire game, and you can see exactly what I mean right now. Like, there is nowhere to work with. You're in an extremely enclosed space with 3 Arkeyan swordsmen. That's just the first section of the fight. It keeps going. It's not like that's just it. Like, I feel like people forget how hard just that part of the game is. On Nightmare mode, that part is indeed a nightmare. It is so difficult. I will admit, having to redo these entire sections all over again, exactly the same as last time, is going to test my whole, oh, I actually like Arkeyan Aurogyro Adventure, not with the Arkeyan, I made that up, it doesn't have that in it. I will admit, having to replay all these vehicle segments all over again exactly the same as last time is going to test my whole I actually like Aurogyro Adventure attitude a little bit, but I think it'll hold strong. You know, it just occurred to me... Oh my god. The second I stopped the door. Okay, it just occurred to me, right? All this talk of the enemies getting armor hits, it has literally just occurred to me. I have the single highest armor stat physically possible on Drobot, and I think that hit earlier is the first time this entire run that my armor has actually worked and done anything. Is that true? I have 69 armor. I have a nice amount of armor. And apparently it just doesn't want to do anything. I did the same goddamn thing again. You know what's crazy is genuinely, I'm pretty sure I've literally never done that before, and now I've done it twice in a row. Oh yeah, I forgot there was a pretzel here, I may as well have that. Alright, well, at the very least, this has been a very good moneymaker, if nothing else. I think when I get back there, I hate to be boring, I think I just have to not throw, so I'm probably just gonna, like, be boring and just hold down A, and not really, like, use my other moves. I'm sorry, I don't want to be boring, but, like, I kind of can't screw around there, and especially when sometimes it seems like the game gets confused if I try and input too many flight cancels in, like, too short of an amount of time. I don't really want to play with fire there. I want that to work consistently, not sometimes work, sometimes you just get stuck in place and your character doesn't do anything and sits there and takes a beating. Speaking of which, oh my god, that was... Oof. the cutscene wouldn't let me move. That's bullshit. It literally just like locks me in place. Like, I knew the rocket was coming. I was holding left, whatever the direction is, and it just didn't let me move. Okay. At the very least, we get our 2K again. And we go for... Okay, just hold A. Be boring. Don't do anything stupid. Just hold A. And maybe that. But only when it's really obvious that it's a good idea. No spamming it. No tech. Just, yeah, like that. There we go. Alright, and then you, I'm sorry, I would love to fight you in the enclosed area and not be evil, but like, I literally physically can't. Like, what does my character do if I just stay in the circle? No, I've got to do this. Like, I feel dirty doing this, but like, literally, what else does Drobot do here? Like, you kind of have to do this. Like, you are not living if you just stay... Like, yes, I shall fight the flamethrowers that are designed to be literally instantly murders you if you stay in their face in an area that is 2 centimeters wide. That sounds like a great idea. Like, I feel bad cheating it like that, but, like, I literally can't fight them in there. It's just death. It's just death. Oh, yeah, that's the legendary treasure. Or at least I think it is. There's a little tip if you want to skip this puzzle. If you're playing a character that's fast enough, you can just do that. Alright, the crystal golem. You're going to drop down here, and I'm going to make an attempt to fight you in the little arena I'm supposed to, although I will run if I have to, and fight you in the corridor. Okay, that one was my fault. I did just kind of walk into him, but that's fine, because these guys are terrible at dealing with guys that just walk around them in circles. Okay, now you've lost your crystal powers. Uses blade gears, nearly immediately dies. There's a correlation there. There's a correlation there. Okay, I've got to approach this carefully. Yeah, I think I know how I'm doing this. Ooh, that guy at the top waited a little bit longer than I expected to fire, so that nearly went very wrong. Okay, they're on armor, so they're nearly dead. I know from experience, if you're too hasty here, you get cornered by those lasers. You need to make sure that you move as late as possible. If you get too antsy and you move too early, you just get cornered, and you just literally can't dodge the laser. Now, I believe this should be the hardest one. I say that, actually, these guys might be a bit of a joke. Because I can just, yeah. And again, I kind of have to. Like, I would fight them more often, but I literally, like, have to. Like, the whole ring is, like, in his flamethrower range. Oh, is it really just one at a time? I didn't remember exactly how this worked. If it's just one at a time, this is actually not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty easy, actually. The hardest one might have been the quadruple Arkeyan swordsman fight. That one was just ridiculous. Oh yeah, I always forget there's one last section here when you have to leave. I don't know why I always forget this. I love how, like, you clearly bonk. Okay, never mind. Okay, I know that looked really stupid, but let me explain. I have played this level so many times, and I've actually never hit that door. And there's been loads of times I basically phased through the door. Like, you can see the copter go through the door, but apparently I made it. So I actually thought the door... Yeah, like that. I actually thought the door didn't have collision. Like, I have never died to the door, even though sometimes I obviously should. So I assumed the door literally just didn't have collision, and it was just there to spook you. I've actually never seen that happen. So the door does have collision. It's just really janky. Alright, so now I might be getting a little bit smug, but I think we're basically in the clear now. There's a chance that there is one combat section on the final level that's pretty tough that might catch me out, but I think we'll be good, personally, on Drobot. If I was a different character, I might be more worried. As for this level, while there are tough parts of this level, especially the most infamous one is the combat right before you do the puzzle, like at the gates of the castle. Not the castle, the palace. Well, there is that. Outside of that one combat section, the only other thing about this level that is tough is the amount of trogs in it. And trogs are a big concern if you're playing a big, slow giant that doesn't kill fast. But we are playing a small, fast character who does kill very, very fast. So, you know, we're not really too worried. I always forget to push this block before I go the other way, so I'm going to remember now. Hopefully from now on I won't forget that. I've been doing good so far, because it used to be literally every time I played this level I would go down first and then realize, oh yeah, I have to push that block first. Now, the last 3 times I played this level I remembered, so hopefully I'll keep that up. Now the Arkeyan Sniper here could be a problem if it weren't for the fact that we are nice and fast. Again, if you're a giant this is a nightmare, but if you're not, this should be pretty easy. The armor hits on the trogs, it's like already the armor hits are a little aggravating. On the trogs, man, it's the worst. Alright, well, we've got a lot of swordsmen to worry about here, but I think we can wipe them out pretty quickly before they get a chance to approach, since it's such an open area. Especially if we just don't scroll the screen far enough to spawn the Arkeyan Sniper. At least until now, when we can deal with it more easily. Say that, we can kind of just stun lock it the second it tries to fight as well with our lasers, because it only takes 1 tap to, like, cancel its attack. Oh, I thought I was going to fly through you without you getting a hit connected there, so let's be a bit careful here. Okay, and then pretty easy from here on out. Just you guys, you are not all that threatening, although you do take your sweet time to get to the fight. Oh yeah, I also know there's a trick you can use to use the Explodo Ball to, like, immediately kill all the enemies in that tough encounter coming up. I just want to do it legit. I'm not going to cheat it. If you didn't know, earlier in the level, you know where I got that bounce pad to get that key? If you bring a bomb there and throw it towards the later part of the level, you can actually blow up the thing that this ball is supposed to blow up, and then because it doesn't blow that thing up anymore, it means you can bring it into the next combat zone and use it to insta-kill everything. But I'm not going to do that trick here. I'm going to do this legitimately. I'm not going to cheat my way through it. So it'd be this ball here. You can blow this up with a normal bomb, and then you can bring the ball into here and just kill all the enemies with it, but I think that's cheating. Okay, let's see how tough this is. I think it won't be too bad, but I do know that there are some people who have a lot of trouble with this section, so we'll see. See, don't get me wrong, I know these are very tanky enemies that hit very hard, it's just they're very easy to dodge, you know? If they were harder to dodge, I could agree, but, like, even in a small space like this, they're not so bad. Now, these guys maybe have an argument to make, but even then, it's just a lot more space than you have in some areas of the game to deal with these guys. To be fair, I did have to be more patient than I expected here. to take my time a bit to make sure I didn't throw this. What is this guy doing? I don't think I've ever seen an Arkeyan shield juggernaut do that. Just like repeatedly drop their shield like that. That's interesting. Okay, so like you'll spare me the tedium of doing this lot puzzle, right? Like, there's no more enemies, isn't there? I'm pretty sure. Oh god, actually, I usually just stop playing this level when I get this far, because, you know, I've already beaten it. I'm just replaying the level. There's no reason I need to re-beat it. Fine, I'll do the puzzle, just because I'm not sure if there are enemies after you solve the puzzle. I don't think there are. I don't do this puzzle often enough to remember. I'm pretty sure there aren't. Maybe there's one encounter. Yeah, there's no more enemies. Okay, right. Moment of truth. I think this should be not too bad. But there are two sections in particular I'm a little worried about. That being, for one, there is a section where we have to fight a Arkeyan shield juggernaut and a couple more Arkeyan swordsmen in a relatively enclosed area that I'm a little worried about. You probably know the one. And there is also... most of the boss fight with Kaos is pretty easy. However, the last wave of minions... I don't think it's that bad, but it's just that I'm gonna be honest, like, I usually don't bother doing the final boss over and over. Listen, I love the final boss of this game, but, like, I played it too much when I was a kid, and I got bored of it. And so I actually don't play it. When I replay this level, I usually, like, just leave when I get to the end, and I haven't like, before the boss fight. Like, I get to Aurik's shop, and I just leave. I don't actually replay the boss that often anymore. So I might forget some things and I might be a bit sloppy. So I need to make sure I don't fall for anything stupid. Oh, speaking of falling for stupid things, I forgot the thing where I can't use hover mode on conveyor belts, otherwise it locks out my controls. Yeah, I need to remember that. This encounter shouldn't be tough unless I get impatient, but as long as I don't do anything stupid out of impatience, it's pretty easy. Just a lot of Arkeyan jousters, which are a little bit tedious to deal with. I say I die here a lot more often when I'm playing casually, just because, like, I try and rush it, and that hit me? Are you serious? Okay, whoa. I'm gonna be extremely boring then, if that hit. Right, here is the part that might be a bit tough. Like, this doesn't look like a very enclosed area, and it technically isn't if I run back here. But running back here is also cheating. I say that. That's a bit inconsistent in me. I don't know. It feels wrong. It's too easy to just run back there and only fight enemies, like, from, like, 5 miles away. Like, at least when I was doing it in Aurogyro Adventure, it was because there's literally, like, no way to dodge the attacks without doing it. And I tried to do it as little as possible. Here, this is very much dodgeable, just difficult, you know? Okay, then. Hey, you know what? I was about to say, just in case, you know what, in the spirit of the challenge, no, let's not even buy the regeneration power-up. Here we go. You know what, actually, for this, what am I doing? For this specifically, cut the music, brackets, my music. Let's put all this back on. Let's experience it as intended. Behold, it is I, Kaos.
And as you can see, I am awesome! Of course,
He's not lying.
Awesome. But now that I have the Fist of Arkus and assume the form of the biggest, most powerful robot ever, I am supremely awesome! So you probably better start running here.
Good thing I'm good at that. Or flying. You're gonna have to do a lot of sprinting to catch up, buddy. There we go. Oh my god. I think that I don't think I've ever done that section in one slam, you know? I don't think I've ever done that section so fast that Chaos only gets one slam in.
Because you found my secret red avalanche.
Yes, let him monologue.
Well,
don't go on the portal.
Buttons too. Hello, you trap sky blunderer. And neither Eon nor any of your idiot friends can save you now.
Why don't you pick on someone your own size?
There he is. There's my baby.
He is technically larger than us. Well, at least it's kind of close, right?
What? Arkeans! Fist of Arkus!
Shield me from this fool! I love it. I love it.
Like the iron fist of Arkus. Hit it while it's vulnerable. Keep hitting the fist.
Keep hitting the fist. Keep hitting the fist. Keep hitting the fist. Keep hitting the fist. Keep hitting the fist.
Good.
I mean,
Keep hitting.
he ain't wrong.
Didn't like that too much there, did you? Well, you ain't gonna like this either.
Go, my weird Wilikin Village evil magic thing. Do we ever get like an explanation of what the hell this thing is? Like, ever? Go, Ikaruga machine. My favorite part of Skylanders Giants was when Kaos said, "Go, my Ikaruga machine." Ikaruga them up. It's Ikaruga in time. Ouch.
There it is again. The eye on the fist of Arkus.
Oh. I don't think I've ever seen his fist go that far. I just assumed it couldn't slam at that distance. But hey, armor hit! Armor hit! That was lucky. Technically still a no-hit, technically. Technically still a no-hit.
That's it.
Thank you, armor. Very cool. Nope. I can't see! I couldn't see my character! Oh, I thought for sure I was getting hit there.
Hitting the fist. That's it. Good.
Wait, why can't I move? I can't see. Am I actually caught on an enemy there? Are you, like, serious?
That's it.
It's a good thing that this is...
Good. Good.
It's a good thing that this thing is definitely gonna die soon. There we go, right.
What was that?
I don't think so.
Now it's time to turn the tables.
I am not familiar with that expression.
Me neither, come to think.
Oh, I see. Now, Skylander, attack his head.
Skylander, don't make me get up. Skylander! Ouch! Stop that! Stop it at
Oh my goodness. Listen, I know it might not be the most, like, top-tier dubstep, but just having a dubstep remix of the Skylanders theme here as the boss music, like, genuinely, someone did... I refuse to believe that someone didn't telekinetically know who I am as a person at Toys for Bob and make this ending specifically for me. Well, there we go. That was all of Skylanders Giants on Nightmare, soloed by my souped-up Drobot. And for those of you who don't know, you actually get a secret bonus cutscene for beating all of Skylanders Giants on Nightmare difficulty. Although don't get too excited, it's not a lot, but it is a little nice reward to say, hey, we acknowledge you. You beat our game on the hardest difficulty. Hooray. Oh, how could I forget? The credits, of course. Right. Yeah, I always forget that it still replays the credits if you redo the game, even if you've already beaten it.
So you beaten the game, shooby-doo-wop-bop-bop. Hey, what's going on here?
Oh, these things? These are credits.
What? How dare they interrupt my singing?
You were singing?
Here you go. So as it turns out, soloing Nightmare difficulty with one Skylander isn't actually that difficult if you just pick Drobot. I had a feeling that might be true. Also, hang on a minute, it just registered in my head that is 34 hours and 39 minutes of playtime on Drobot specifically. That's a lot. Like, again, it's friendly reminder, I'm playing on emulator too, so that does not count any playtime I had on Drobot on, you know, my original like Wii and Xbox when I played Skylanders on console, and that also doesn't count any playtime on any figures other than my main Light Core Drobot figure. I do also have a Series 2 Drobot figure that I play on to get the other upgrades, so that's a lot. Well, with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're interested in more of these, make sure to participate in the vote. Hopefully by the time this video is up, the vote should already be posted. So let me know which character you want to see done in the next one of these videos. With all that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.